amount of calories needed for somebody working out in the deep field can be 32 to almost 5,000 calories every day.
For context, the USDA recommends average adults to consume between 1,600 and 3,000 calories per day.
In February, the last cargo plane lifts off from the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. For the next 8 months, the crew left behind, 40 to 150 people depending on the station, will be more isolated than astronauts on the ISS. There is no abort option, no rescue. Aircraft cannot fly below -40 degrees Celsius because hydraulics freeze solid. The environment averages -49 degrees at the South Pole, drops below -80 at Concordia, and can freeze exposed skin in under a minute. The body experiences the altitude as 10,000 to 11,000 feet. For 6 months straight, the sun never rises. Eating breakfast requires food ordered a year in advance. A 2-minute shower consumes fuel that traveled 10,000 miles. How do you stay clean when every drop of water must be carved from a glacier? How do you sleep when the sun circles the sky, then vanishes entirely? What does it cost in fuel, planning, and discipline to remain human in a place that wants you dead? When that last LC-130 cargo plane departs the South Pole in February, it marks the beginning of what Antarctic crews call winter over. The crew size varies. South Pole stations typically keep 40 to 150 personnel, while more remote bases like Concordia or Halley 6 operate with skeleton crews as small as 12 to 16 people. What they all share is this: for 8 months, from February through October, they are unreachable. The comparison to space is not rhetorical. ISS astronauts can return to Earth within hours if needed. Antarctic winter over crews have no such option. The reason is mechanical and absolute. Below -40 degrees Celsius, aircraft hydraulic fluid thickens and freezes. Control surfaces stop responding. The temperature at inland Antarctic stations routinely drops far below that threshold.
Not only is working down here just by nature very physically demanding, but the extreme cold also itself causes you to burn more calories to keep warm.
-49 degrees Celsius is the average at the South Pole, and winter nights at Concordia push past -80 degrees. Frostbite on exposed skin occurs in under 60 seconds at those temperatures, sometimes in seconds. Metal tools become brittle and can shatter like glass. Human breath freezes mid-air and falls as ice crystals. Whiteouts, where snow-covered ground and sky merge into one white void, trigger full lockdowns where all personnel must remain inside. The altitude compounds everything. The South Pole station sits on an ice sheet over 9,000 feet thick, but the physiological altitude, what the body actually experiences, is closer to 10,000 to 11,000 feet. The extreme cold, low atmospheric pressure, and bone-dry air create a hypoxic environment. New arrivals spend days acclimating, suffering shortness of breath, headaches, and disrupted sleep. Antarctica is also the world's largest desert. The air inside stations becomes even drier. Personnel experience constant dehydration, chapped lips, and frequent nosebleeds. Static electricity accumulates so rapidly that grounding plates are installed throughout stations. All medical emergencies, all equipment failures, all interpersonal crises. Everything must be resolved internally. Each station has a doctor but no specialists, no ICU, no surgical suite beyond basic capabilities. The winter over is not an adventure. It is a controlled experiment in human isolation, conducted at the coldest, driest, highest, and darkest place humans have ever tried to live for extended periods. Every human activity at an Antarctic station, heating a room, boiling water, powering a computer, melting ice, requires fuel. That fuel did not originate in Antarctica. It was refined on another continent, loaded onto ships, transported across thousands of miles of ocean, and delivered through one of 3 supply chains. Coastal stations like McMurdo receive fuel once per year via tanker ships that must be preceded by icebreakers. The supply window is narrow, late December through February, when the ice is thinnest. Inland stations like the South Pole rely on ski-equipped LC-130 Hercules cargo planes, which fly from McMurdo Station over the trans-Antarctic mountains. These flights are expensive, weather-dependent, and limited by payload capacity. The third method is the South Pole Traverse, a ground convoy of specialized tractors pulling massive cargo sleds across the ice sheet. The journey from McMurdo to the South Pole takes weeks. The tractors move slowly, navigating crevasse fields and maintaining a route over ice that shifts and compresses under its own weight. The result is that every gallon of fuel at an inland station represents weeks of planning, thousands of miles of transport, and significant risk. That fuel powers the diesel generators, pumps, heating elements, kitchen equipment, laboratory instruments, and ventilation systems that keep the station running and breathable. The station's annual fuel allocation is calculated with precision. Engineers estimate power consumption for every system, project usage rates for water and heat, and add a safety margin for unexpected equipment failures or extreme weather. The margin is not generous. If consumption exceeds projections, there is no resupply until the following year. The consequence is operational failure. This is why resource conservation is not a suggestion. It is a survival requirement enforced by mathematics. Every system at an Antarctic station is designed to minimize fuel consumption while maintaining livable conditions, and every crew member understands that wasting resources reduces the margin that keeps the entire group safe. Water is the most energy-intensive resource at an Antarctic station. Coastal stations must desalinate seawater. Inland stations must melt ice from the 2-mile thick sheet beneath them. Both processes require enormous amounts of fuel. Coastal stations use reverse osmosis desalination plants. Seawater is drawn in through intake pipes, filtered, and then forced through semi-permeable membranes at high pressure. The membrane's microscopic pores allow water through, but block salts and impurities. The pumps required to generate sufficient pressure consume large amounts of electricity, and the membranes themselves are delicate and expensive to replace. Inland stations melt ice. The most common method uses snow melters, large tanks where snow is deposited by heavy machinery and then heated using hot fluid from the station's main power generators. The process is inefficient. Snow contains air pockets, which means a large volume of snow produces a relatively small volume of water. The South Pole station uses a more sophisticated system called an ice well. A hole is drilled deep into the ice sheet, and a closed-loop system of hot water pipes is lowered into it. The heat from the circulating water melts the surrounding ice, gradually carving out a cavern, a small, clean lake within the glacier itself. Pumps draw water from this subglacial reservoir, which is then filtered and distributed throughout the station. Both systems convert fuel into water at a fixed, calculable rate. That rate determines how much water each person can use. The Navy shower protocol exists because of this equation. 2 minutes, twice per week. 30 seconds to get wet, turn the water off, lather with soap and shampoo, then 90 seconds to rinse. Timers are often installed in shower stalls to enforce this. Laundry is similarly rationed, 1 load per week per person using communal machines on a sign-up schedule. Scented detergents and fabric softeners are often banned because the chemicals can clog the wastewater treatment systems. The social enforcement of these rules is absolute. Wasting water is not a personal failing. It is a betrayal of the group. A 10-minute shower means someone else's laundry load gets delayed. In an environment where every resource is finite and no resupply is possible for months, the social contract is simple. Discipline protects everyone, and selfishness endangers everyone. Food arrives at Antarctic stations once per year. For coastal stations, that means a cargo ship docking during the brief summer resupply window. For inland stations, it means LC-130 cargo flights or the South Pole Traverse. Either way, the food that arrives in December and January must last until the following December. This means that someone, usually the station's chef and a food manager, must plan every single meal for every single person for 365 days, and they must do this a full year in advance. They calculate daily caloric requirements, which at Antarctic stations range from 3,500 to 5,000 calories per person.
20 minutes before dinner time, I'm at least going to shame you about it.
Due to the extreme cold and physical labor, they account for dietary restrictions and place one enormous order. If they forget an ingredient, that ingredient will not be available for an entire year. If they underestimate the consumption of a popular item, it runs out and does not come back. The margin for error is zero. The first flights of the summer season bring freshies. Fresh fruits and vegetables. People who have not tasted a fresh apple or crisp salad in 8 months will drop what they are doing to help unload the cargo and claim their share. Freshies are rationed carefully, served at communal meals where everyone can enjoy them together. But freshies do not last. By March, when the last flights leave and winter sets in, the fresh food is gone. From that point until the following October, the diet consists entirely of frozen, canned, and dried goods. The skill of Antarctic chefs is in transforming shelf-stable, months-old supplies into meals that taste good, provide adequate nutrition, and maintain morale. The chef who can deliver occasional surprises, fresh-baked bread, cookies, a birthday cake made from scratch, becomes a hero. The chef who cannot make winter unbearable. The galley is not just a kitchen, it is the social heart of the station. It operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, serving breakfast, lunch, dinner, smoko breaks, and midrats, midnight rations for the night shift crew. In an environment with no external time cues, mealtimes are the only reliable markers and mandatory social events. The crew gathers, sits together, eats together, and talks. This is a deliberate design to prevent isolation within isolation. Hydroponic greenhouses at stations like the South Pole produce small amounts of lettuce, herbs, tomatoes, and cucumbers. The nutritional contribution is modest. The psychological contribution is enormous. The greenhouse is warm, humid, and smells like soil and living plants. During the 6-month winter, when the entire world outside is frozen, dark, and lifeless, the greenhouse is the only place on the continent where something grows. Greenhouse duty is one of the most coveted assignments because it provides sensory relief. A 30-minute break from the cold, dry, sterile environment of the station itself. The human body regulates itself using a 24-hour light-dark cycle. Sunlight signals the brain to suppress melatonin production, promoting wakefulness. Darkness signals the brain to release melatonin, promoting sleep. Antarctica removes this cycle. During the austral summer, from November through February, the sun never sets. The brain never receives the signal that it is time to sleep. Personnel report feeling alert at 2 o'clock a.m., then struggling to focus during the workday. The effect is subtle and cumulative, a gradual dulling of reaction times, impaired judgment, and increased irritability. Blackout curtains are the single most critical piece of equipment in any Antarctic bedroom. They must block all light, not just dim it, but eliminate it. When the curtains are closed, the room must be pitch black. Only in complete darkness will the brain begin producing melatonin. During the winter, from March through October, the sun never rises. Without daily light exposure, the body's internal clock drifts. Sleep-wake cycles shift later and later each day, a phenomenon called circadian phase delay. The result is a state of perpetual jet lag. Personnel feel tired during work hours but cannot fall asleep at night. Seasonal affective disorder becomes nearly universal. Symptoms include depression, low energy, irritability, social withdrawal, and difficulty finding motivation. The only solution is to artificially impose a day-night cycle and defend it with absolute discipline. Personnel are required to maintain strict sleep schedules. Bed at 10 o'clock p.m., wake at 6 o'clock a.m., no exceptions, even on days off. The schedule is non-negotiable because consistency is the only thing that prevents circadian drift. Light therapy is mandatory during winter. Each morning, personnel sit in front of high-intensity light boxes, devices that emit bright, blue-white light at 10,000 lux, mimicking sunlight. 30 minutes of exposure signals the brain that the day has started, resetting the circadian clock. Some stations use programmable lighting that shifts color temperature. Evening light is dim and red, which doesn't interfere with melatonin production. Exercise is the other critical countermeasure. Antarctic stations have well-equipped gyms with weights, cardio machines, and often basketball courts or yoga studios. Intense physical exercise regulates mood, burns off stress, and physically tires the body, making sleep possible even when circadian cues are absent. Even with all of these countermeasures, sleep remains difficult. Stations operate 24 hours a day. Generators hum constantly. Ventilation systems circulate air with a low, steady roar. Earplugs are standard issue, and many crew members use white noise machines. At the South Pole's newer elevated station, most of the 154 rooms are single occupancy, a luxury designed to give personnel a private space where they can retreat, decompress, and sleep without disturbance. That privacy is not incidental. It is a psychological necessity. Sleep in Antarctica is not passive rest. It is an active countermeasure against a hostile environment. It requires blackout curtains, light therapy, strict schedules, intense exercise, and social enforcement. It requires treating the body like a machine that needs specific inputs at specific times to continue functioning. The 54-hour, 6-day work week is the backbone of life at an Antarctic station. Technicians maintain generators, repair equipment, and monitor life support systems. Scientists run experiments, collect data, and process samples. Kitchen staff prepare meals. Every person has a role, and every role is essential. The work provides structure, purpose, and a reason to be there. But work alone is not enough. Antarctic stations provide extensive recreational facilities, gyms, music rooms, craft workshops, lounges, and bars where personnel can decompress. Recreation is important, but rituals are essential. Rituals are not leisure. They are engineered cultural events that provide psychological relief, mark the passage of time, and reinforce group cohesion under extreme duress. The most important ritual is Midwinter's Day, celebrated on June 21st or 22nd, the darkest day of the year, the winter solstice, and the exact halfway point of the winter over. Midwinter is called Antarctic Christmas. The galley staff plans an elaborate formal feast with multiple courses, special dishes, and decorations. Personnel exchange handmade gifts, crafted in the station's workshops from scrap materials, repurposed equipment, and whatever supplies are available. Messages are read from other Antarctic stations, creating a sense of connection across the continent. Film traditions serve a similar function. At the South Pole, the crew watches the shining after the last flight departs. Many stations screen The Thing, John Carpenter's 1982 horror film set at an Antarctic research station. These rituals allow the crew to confront their fears collectively and diffuse them through dark humor. The 300 Club is unique to the South Pole. It can only be attempted when the winter temperature drops below -100 degrees Fahrenheit. Participants heat the station's sauna to a positive 200 degrees Fahrenheit. They sit in the sauna until they are thoroughly overheated. Then, wearing nothing but boots, run outside into the -100 degree cold, circle the ceremonial South Pole marker, and sprint back inside. The temperature differential is 300 degrees Fahrenheit. The exposure lasts less than a minute, but it is dangerous. Frostbite can occur in seconds. Yet the tradition persists because it transforms environmental hostility into a badge of honor. At coastal stations, the polar plunge, jumping into the sub-zero ocean through a hole cut in sea ice, serves a similar purpose. Every January 1st, the South Pole Station unveils a new marker for the geographic South Pole. The ice sheet moves approximately 30 feet per year, so the pole's true location shifts. Each year's winter over crew designs and fabricates a custom marker in the station's workshop. These rituals are not trivial. They are not optional. They are the cultural infrastructure that makes it possible for a small group of people to remain psychologically functional when they are locked in an industrial building for 8 months of total darkness with no escape, no rescue, and no relief. Under the Antarctic Treaty's Protocol on Environmental Protection, nothing is left behind. This is not a guideline. It is international law. Every piece of trash, every broken part, every drop of waste generated at an Antarctic station must be removed from the continent. The practical consequence is that waste management at an Antarctic station is about meticulous sorting, storage, and eventual removal. Every station has a complex waste sorting room with separate bins for different categories: food scraps, plastics sorted by type, glass by color, metals, and hazardous waste. Each category has its own container. The sorting is mandatory, and it is enforced through a rotating duty called GASH, a term borrowed from British and Australian naval slang for waste management and cleaning. Every crew member, regardless of rank or specialty, takes turns on GASH duty. Blackwater, sewage from toilets, is processed in an advanced wastewater treatment plant similar to a small-scale municipal facility. The system uses biological, chemical, and mechanical processes to break down solid waste, remove contaminants, and purify the water. The purified water is sometimes reused for non-potable purposes like flushing toilets. The remaining solid waste, called sludge, is compacted, dried, and stored in sealed containers. Every category of waste is tracked, logged, and prepared for retrograde. the annual process of loading it onto the resupply ship or cargo planes and transporting it off the continent. Retrograde is a massive logistical undertaking. Waste must be containerized, secured, and loaded in a specific order to balance weight and ensure safe transport. The zero waste mandate extends to everything. Broken equipment cannot be abandoned. Old fuel barrels cannot be buried. Construction debris cannot be left on the ice. Every item that arrives at an Antarctic station will eventually leave. The continent is treated as a closed system, and human activity is allowed only on the condition that it leaves no trace. In October, after 8 months, the temperature begins to rise. It is still far below zero, but it is warm enough for aircraft hydraulics to function. The first LC-130 cargo plane of the spring season makes the flight from McMurdo Station to the South Pole. The crew hears it before they see it, the distant roar of turboprop engines echoing across the ice. Then it appears on the horizon, descending toward the skiway, and touches down in a spray of snow. The winter over crew emerges. They have survived. They have consumed the food ordered a year in advance, manufactured water from ice using fuel that traveled 10,000 miles, and tricked their bodies into sleeping using blackout curtains and light therapy. They have maintained discipline over showers, laundry, and waste. They have worked 54-hour weeks, exercised to stave off depression, and gathered for meals to prevent isolation. They have celebrated midwinter and designed a new South Pole marker. The cost of being human in Antarctica is measured in tons of fuel, months of planning, and the constant effort to force biology and psychology to function in a place they were never designed to tolerate. The 2-minute shower, the strict sleep schedule, the formal midwinter feast, these are not luxuries or traditions. They are the infrastructure of survival. They are the scaffolding that prevents a small group of people from breaking under the weight of isolation, darkness, cold, and time. The first flight brings new personnel, fresh supplies, and mail from home. It also brings the knowledge that winter is over, that the world outside still exists, and that the crew's isolation was not permanent. But for the winter over crew, something has changed. They have lived through conditions that most humans will never experience. They have learned what it costs to eat, sleep, and stay clean in the coldest, driest, darkest, and most isolated place on Earth. And they have learned that it is possible. Not easy, but possible. If the systems are well designed, the discipline is absolute, and the group holds together. The plane's cargo doors open and the resupply begins.